with 32 games won and 19 lost only. The last time that Beastyqt could beat MarineLorD was actually the caster mode clash, which was a show match between the two on the 8th of October. But in a premiere event, it was the qualifiers of Red Bull Volo Legacy all the way back last July when Beastyqt could win.
So a while ago, MarineLorD was keeping up his win rate through really the entirety of 2022 and into 23. So something, an extra layer to keep in mind, the history of these two players against one another in competition. Though villagers are coming ahead forward already for Beasty. So we're getting it all started very quickly.
Yeah, Beasty's committing 2 villagers over here as compared to MarineLorD, who only sends 1. And you can see why. It's because when you have 2 villagers, you could just push away 1, even if the scout of MarineLorD is nearby. But that scout is nowhere to be found, and MarineLorD is gonna have to bail on this dock.
Already a big position win for Beasty. Is going to build up a dock immediately in that same position, pushing the Vil back. Look, GG, it's done. It's over. That's all you need.
Oh, that's annoying, and you can see why Beasty can do this. It's because MarineLorD, he wants to go for a bounty on the hunt, so he can't really commit, or he won't really commit his scout. And if that's the case, 2 villagers and a scout is more than enough to push away that villager. So MarineLorD bails on the pond. Beast is actually going to have an interesting dock positioning himself, because he should have vision on any sneaky dock that MarineLorD wants to make. And he also has 2 villagers out here on shore fishing, so this is a really good start over here for Beasty.
Very much so. He's going to get fishing immediately, and you're going to see his food income start to rise bit by bit, though MarineLorD is definitely keeping up, but he's got to use resources back at home for it. Oh, Beasty is ferrying over his sheep, going in for the deer, not wasting any time, turning a simple advantage and building up the dock in a position and having your opponent cancel theirs into a snowball, really. Making sure that you're getting more resources early in the game, making sure that you're aging up faster, and even the delivery of the sheep is taking much longer. For MarineLorD, that's definitely got to be an advantage Beasty will use to his side.
Yeah, now this is why MarineLorD was willing to forfeit the lake, because he's going for Dark Age militias here. Now this is a big investment, but it's not like Beasty has anything to counter this with. So yeah, he's gonna have to pull out the villagers for the time being. And I actually wonder if Beasty is going to drop his own barracks to deal with this. Oh yeah, there it is. I won't even finish the sentence. He's gonna go for a forward barracks even. That could actually make it very difficult for MarineLorD to fight this, especially because he doesn't see it. Once again, the scout is not here in the middle, and that deprives MarineLorD from the vision that he would need to stop this. If he saw that, that barracks would never go up.
He would just immediately go for it, try to get it cancelled ASAP, just like what happened with his own dock only a few minutes ago. In games at this high level, things will happen very quickly, and unfortunately the barracks will be spotted right there at the edge of MarineLorD's vision, as Beasty's vills came in too quick. They need to delay, they needed to heal up that dock and get it fixed up for just a moment, allowing Beasty to train up some of his own spears in this case, but that dock might be forfeit, and unfortunately, with that water investment that Beasty already has put in, it might be a bit too much. So with a forward barracks that will build a bit out of position, he will have to build a dock in the back, currently not spotted by MarineLorD at least, but he's already going up the scout because the vills have gone away. He's going to get the confirmation and know, hey, this is my next step. I already have a manpower advantage. I will push that ASAP, and now the initial dock is burning.
Yeah, as long as the fishing ships have somewhere to drop off food at, it's okay, because you have a much more efficient economy here with the HRE, probably boosting your villagers' fishing ships as well. So you can afford to play the Spearman War. I guess the problematic part here is that we are talking about 10 Spearmen as opposed to just 3. And that's because Beast doesn't even want to commit more to this. He's going up with the Aachen Chapel. But that likely means he's going to forfeit the barracks, and he may even need to forfeit the dock at this space. Oh,
And now he's starting to think, hey, that's a bit too much.
he tried
Gonna
to
let
sneak
back
it.
before. Not wasting
Barracks
any
goes
time.
down. Oh, dock could actually go up over here, but the villagers will likely fall. This at least buys some time for Beasty, and as crazy as it sounds like, this could still be worth it, because he just needs to make sure that he maintains naval presence until he gets to feudal age. Pops out a galley. If he keeps those fishing ships alive, he's okay.
It definitely should be. It was a matter of time in a matchup as close as this. And actually, that is a pretty far forward Kremlin. It makes sense. You want the militia to be to help you. That's unusual, but that's MarineLorD trying to capitalize on his already good position on the ground.
Oh, the demo!
Good reaction from MarineLorD, but that Kremlin, that forward Kremlin, is a massive play.
Oh my goodness, this is such a crazy game here. We had a demo barely missing the spearman. MarineLorD now needs to respect the second demo that could pop out any moment from Beasty. Forward Kremlin we are talking about over here. Ooh, oh, that's gonna be annoying. Has to pull away the villagers for a couple of seconds over here. Has to pull the spearman back because of that. And there is also a galley to harass this with. Maybe that forward Kremlin is backfiring.
It's just... How would you expect that the galley can shoot up from its own position up into the Kremlin? It's not something that you're accounting for, really, that it could get that close up. But it goes up. It's a power position, really. You can catch off rotations. That's one part of the map that's pretty much locked down. And you can put pressure on the center by having a safer dock with the Kremlin in position. Could also hold off any infantry that would be built up. There's a dock coming up as we speak by MarineLorD, trying to make sure he doesn't lose any more vills, or he doesn't lose many vills compared to what Beasty lost only a bit. An extra commitment on the water from the HRE will mean the dock there will be forfeit for MarineLorD, despite his control on land.
Yeah, the problem here for MarineLorD is that he's got 12 spearmen that can't really do much over here. He invested into that dock, but he's yet to get any return value, and I love how Beasty committed to demo ship over there. That's one of the fastest ways that you can destroy that one dock. It's not necessarily cost efficient, but when it really comes down to just destroying that dock as fast as possible, demo ships are the way to go. Look at that. He's going to have the second demo connect. Dock is going to be set on fire before the first ship could even pop out for MarineLorD. And this is what you want here if you're Beasty. You want to make sure that your opponent can't contest the water. One Lord attack ship will pop out over here, but villagers will have to fall to keep that dock alive.
Is it worth it? He's going to keep one Vil on it safe for just a second there, but 2 Vils lost for what has already been a lost position. What more could be done? He's going to snipe at least one ship here, MarineLorD, and he's actually pretty close to doing so. He'll focus on the dock and keep that extra ship healed up. Dock's going to go down, only a bit of HP left, and another dock is going to come up right behind it. No, what? No, he's going to have to fall back. There it is, right on the edge. The Kremlin's doing some work, and it's helping out. That's a lot of range on the building, but doesn't really do a lot of damage. And MarineLorD is just indecisive, really. Those fills that he's committing are very far away from any sort of production at home. So pulling out 5, 6, 7 vills, that's going to cost you economically over time.
Yeah, exactly. He's still trying to commit to the dock. It's not like he has a better choice, but at this point, it's not like it's going to really work out for him. He's going to commit the spearman against this dock, which may work, but with 2 ships being nearby, those will be able to hold them off. But that's a distraction that MarineLorD can use to get the dock up. New villagers have been pulled. These are full HP, so it's not going to be easy for the galley to snipe them, but at least MarineLorD maintains some naval presence. Still, Beasty is the one getting any benefits from the water. He's the one fishing, whereas for MarineLorD, he's kind of just playing catch-up over here, trying to contest the water because he has to, not because he's getting any major benefit from it. But look at this. Benefits for MarineLorD will come from a second town center.
Yeah, and now he's going to pull all the way over to it. He knows that, at least on land, he's very safe. And the water poses no real threat, aside from giving Beasty more economy. He's already committed quite a bit to it. So MarineLorD, he spent really the resources on the dock, on build up the forward Kremlin. Might be a strong point, but also a weak point later on in the map. But pulling back and saying, look, I can protect myself in the meantime. I'm Rus, I have militia, I'll be fine. I can go for the second DC and focus more on that side of the economy. Look at how much investment has gone down on the water for Beasty. That allows MarineLorD to sit back, relax, and know that in economy, he can be pretty comfortable in it, whilst also playing the defensive game pretty effectively.
I love this play, though, from MarineLorD on the second town center, because we've been discussing this. He's been playing catch-up on the water. It's not really working out. Beasty's reacting to that perfectly. But Beasty didn't scout the second town center yet, and what MarineLorD is doing here is playing to the strengths of this map, because one thing that's somewhat unusual with this quadrant generation is how the cliffs have spawned. Both players have extremely well-defendable bases because of those cliffs, so you can get away with a second town center like MarineLorD does, and it's not like Beasty can do much against that.
No, there really is not much that he can do. He's going to have to basically eat up whatever is thrown at him by MarineLorD. And yeah, you have a bit more advantage here in your military, but you're just taking away a dock that wasn't really that important in the first place for MarineLorD, because you haven't been able to scout the TC in the back, which has already transitioned the economy away from the water. There was no need for it anyways. You're building up fire ships, you're setting up a lot more basically utility on that water side, whereas in just a couple minutes, it's going to be practically useless once we actually get to brass tacks.
Yeah, and look at that. Militia's now being pulled here by MarineLorD to fight off this aggression. He's been stacking up those tickets. Now he's going to have all the militias out, and he also managed to keep his dock alive, maintain naval presence, and actually managed to sink most of the fishing ships from Beastie. So now we are looking at a scenario where MarineLorD has an eco lead of 7. Now, Beastie is thinking about Castle Age over here, but when MarineLorD sees that, he could catch up in about a minute's notice, and this is actually getting worrisome for Beastie, because I think he's still yet to find the second town center, so he doesn't actually know that MarineLorD is building up a noticeable eco lead over him.
He's going to have to wonder, because he'll know, yeah, militia are going to come out, I can just, run away, but at the same time, how is MarineLorD keeping up with me economically? How did he keep his spearmen up and alive? Those are the same spearmen that came in and cleared out the fishing ships that were set in the water that we saw. So, big investment, big power spike for MarineLorD that'll come up in the next bit, but that's something where Beastie has to survive it. Otherwise, the Rus and MarineLorD will just run away with the game. Currently, pretty much ahead in every single resource by quite a margin.
Yeah, Beastie's on the way to Castle Age with the Regnitz Cathedral, rushing it up with 16, but while doing so, he's also going to lose the water here. The demo could be tasked on the dock just to make sure that you can get rid of it quite fast, but there's nothing coming out of that dock for Beastie anyway, so Spearman will be sufficient to torch it down, and you can also keep the demo for future use. MarineLorD, he's going to start stacking up resources to catch up on the Castle Age timing, but this is where Beastie has to make things happen. Regnitz Cathedral, he needs to get those relics going. Problem is that his army isn't necessarily spectacular, and look at what MarineLorD is doing. He's getting on the field with some knights, and if he can intercept the first couple of prelates, he could make Beastie's next few minutes a nightmare.
So, with 10 vills up, MarineLorD is looking comfy. Beastie's just constantly being forced back defensively. There's a wall that we see on our left-hand side, which means there's at least that part that Beastie doesn't have to worry about. He's got good swordsmen, so doesn't need to worry about actually dealing with the spears of MarineLorD, sorry. But a raid is going to come up in the meantime. There's a tower to protect. It's going to push back on the gold for just a moment. But look at how MarineLorD has been taking up more and more of the map, imposing himself and building up more and more layers that are good production space for him, but also can buy him more time to use up his eco advantage that he's now had for a long time, almost 20 vills ahead.
Yeah, and this is perfect for MarineLorD. He's in feudal age, he doesn't want to take the direct engagements, he's fine sitting back and chilling. He's going to take this fight over here, but then thinks twice. Still, he doesn't want to take fights over here, he just wants to make sure that he extends his feudal age, gets to a big eco lead, and then gets to castle age and starts snowballing the game. He's going to take this engagement over here against the men-at-arms. That's a pretty decent cleanup, or it seemed like it. Men-at-arms standing strong and still alive inside the base. Oh, Prelate could be yoinked.
He's yoinked, he's so low on HP, he's so close to getting it done, and yoinked at the last moment. Pull back. Relic dropped on the ground, but do not ever underestimate the HRE boom, really, the eco that they can in and bring themselves back into the game. Beasty's basically just chasing ghosts at this time. Yeah, there's a couple spearmen, but those you can lose pretty comfortably. And a lone man-at-arm will face off an entire village of...
okay.
Vil surround. We're witnessing some next level tactics here. Half HP finally, but he's just clearing out as many of those vills as possible. Another man-at-arms. They're just hero units at this point.
Yeah, they're causing so much havoc out here. Like, look at that. Villagers actually had to be pulled back from the berries, and now this is looking better and better for Beasty. Those castle age men-at-arms starting to pay off, and sure enough, he's down by 20 villagers, but on the other side, MarineLorD is still feudal age. And more importantly, MarineLorD's eco has been idled quite a bit.
More prelates being sniped off. And that water eco is going to start to give MarineLorD even more of an edge. 24 villagers ahead, 25 make it. That's almost 50% on top of what Beasty has. That double TC that helped him out so much when Beasty was not expecting it at all, wondering where all these resources have come from. And MarineLorD has already transitioned away into archers who are clearing out the men-at-arms with the support of their knights. There you go. Spearmen are going down pretty fast. Men-at-arms, yes, they're very tanky. Got the cav for it. They'll come in for the clear. You lose a couple archers, but not too bad at the end of it. And it seems like this is the point in the game where we have to start talking about critical masses of soldiers. And Beasty's definitely nowhere near it. He's going to have to attack into his opponent's base. There's cavalry on the field. There's a massive eco bonus. So barring a massive eco hit, Beasty is going to have a lot to do. And finally, he finds an opening, but there's a tower, there's a TC, there's more units being rallied. He's unable to push any vil off of the gold until this moment. He uses the lull in time to push ahead into his opponent's TC, knowing that MarineLorD is preoccupied, trying to push Beasty's TC himself, raiding in his own, and that would give even more of a civ or a vil advantage for MarineLorD with over 30 at the moment.
Yeah, Beasty is bringing in a relics nice and consistent though, and he's been shutting down quite a lot of MarineLorD's eco. So combining that, oh look at that, some preemptive Volos over here. I would presume those were, but they find nothing. They just push away the cavalry for the time being. Still though, Beasty has 4 relics to work with, which is going to give him a lot of passive gold income, and with the HRE, he doesn't need to worry that much about that eco discrepancy, because he could just go Imperial Age with the Pass of Shvabi and catch up on the villager department very fast. That's one of the things he loves to do, and looking at the resource bank that he has, I would think he's going to start stacking up resources for that, especially because MarineLorD is about to spend a bunch of his own resources for going Castle Age.
Yeah, he's finally going to age up. The big advantage that Beasty has had is that he's actually brought the men-at-arms to raid as close as possible to MarineLorD's gold. So he pushes him away, uses his own advantage in gold, and look at that. It is almost a 10-time difference between Beasty and MarineLorD just because of those extra relics that have been able to be collected by Beasty. Despite the fact that it cost a few prelates, it is completely worth it and pays for itself. Men-at-arm raid will not do too much here, maybe killing off a single villager, but otherwise that lower base by the water has been kept safe by the units on the water. And finally, some more and more units pushing in from Beastyqt, clearing out any extras that were further ahead. Now, at least Beasty's base is safe for now. His goal is still push into the gold, deny MarineLorD any extra resources he can get, because even though MarineLorD has almost twice as many villagers, Beasty's still keeping up the action and the pressure.
And he's going into Imperial with the pass of Schwabia, so villager advantage will disappear from MarineLorD in a matter of minutes, and Beasty is going to be sitting on 5 relics, which is as good as it gets with the HRE. So in a few minutes time, Beasty is going to have a commanding position in this game, and the issue for MarineLorD is that I don't see him being able to punish Beasty for this, and if he doesn't, he's going to be in Castle Age against an Imperial Age opponent that's sitting on 5 relics. That's not a position that you want to be in.
No, this is now the ticking time bomb. If you're MarineLorD, you have to act in the next few minutes and really push up against Beasty, keep him on his toes, or else that Palace of Schwabia is going to come back to really hurt you, because that eco difference, like you said, is going to disappear. You're going to be very comfortable as Beasty, and you already have very tanky units that will survive. And if you're still using infantry to raid your opponent and being successful at it whilst keeping up your eco in the background, that is going to be a massive advantage the deeper into the game we go. This prompts MarineLorD to send out some of his own knights to raid, but reinforcements were already there, and Beasty keeps only one... He's got one side to worry about. The other side of his base is completely locked up with those walls and doesn't need to worry about anything. He's comfortable raiding with infantry in his opponent's base and making sure that MarineLorD is as dry on resources as humanly possible.
Yeah, he's doing a great job shutting down the farming eco over here, and it's just so difficult for MarineLorD to deal with those men-at-arms. They do have two-handed maces, which means that they do pretty well against knights as well. They do move pretty fast, so really the only tool that MarineLorD has to deal with them are crossbows, but he's just now starting to make those. So before those crossbows, he really had no tools to deal with these, and you can see that. He's struggling to clean these up, and that's going to result in a lot of eco damage as well.
And more upgrades are coming in from Beasty also. His gold income has been swelling to well over 1,200 a minute, doubling MarineLorD's constantly for the past few minutes. That's allowing him to constantly keep up with upgrades, making sure that his tanky units are even tankier and have more survivability, plus the fact that he's got kind of maces for his men-at-arms, plus the fact that they move so quickly in their opponent's base. And see, that difference in villagers and overall eco is getting closer and closer. And that's when things start to spell disaster for MarineLorD. However, he has a chance right here, right now. Wall is being built up. He's got enough crossbows and cav to push back his opponent. Beasty's going to take the moment to just pull back, play defensively, and see if he can clear away a few of his opponent's units.
Yeah, MarineLorD needs some time over here. Now, looking at his food bank, that's looking pretty admirable. His gold, not so shiny. But strictly speaking, if he's given a few moments, he could think about Imperial Age. And when he gets to Imperial Age, he would have the Streltsy available, which would just nuke all the infantry that Beasty has. Beasty is making a slow transition into horsemen, but that's a very slow transition that we have. Only a handful of stables, just 9 horsemen on the field, yet to get the Imperial Age upgrade for them. So, if Beasty is thinking about a cavalry switch over here, MarineLorD could have his window to get to Imperial and even things out on the army department.
So does he want to do that? He's pushing into his opponent. They're going in for the fight, and I'm not sure if MarineLorD has enough manpower for this sort of fight. He wants to stay alive as long as possible to get the extra tech, but he finds it where if I don't attack now, Beasty's going to have that eco advantage, and then he's going to be able to wash over me. And it seems like things are not going too well. There's at least Rams are just kind of playing away and pushing those men-at-arms a bit further back and pulling their attention away from the main fight. But the knights are pushing where they're supposed to be for Beasty. They're right on top of the crossbows and the archers. And they're going to be able to do quite a bit of work forcing back MarineLorD for just a bit more. All the siege has been taken down, well past the sacred site. And you're going to be looking pretty comfortable here. Beasty has brought this one back. despite the stream of units that MarineLorD is bringing into the fight, Beasty holds off, keeps it together.
I'm somewhat puzzled by this move by MarineLorD. If he wanted to push this, he probably should have spent the 2,000 food that he has banked up. I don't see a reason for hoarding resources if you need to make a push now. But if he wanted to go into Imperial, then I'm somewhat puzzled about that aggressive posturing, because he really couldn't afford to lose that army. Now he's going to be just playing with full Castle Age army here, mostly horsemen, but he does so against Imperial Age cavalry that's coming from Beasty. So now this is going to be a challenging fight for MarineLorD, because his technology is going to be weaker. Beasty is now in a very strong position here on the hilltop with multiple towers and the keep coming up. And if MarineLorD is investing into army, he's going to struggle to find resources to go into Imperial.
And it's great that the keep is set right on that massive gold right next to it. You have a sacred site, you have a lot of gold, and if that keep comes up, it would be... This is the moment for Beasty to push in and deny it before too many defenses are brought up. Is this the right moment? Everything being pulled right into the crossbows that can fire and shred the infantry at the front. There's 30 of them that are firing deep into Beasty's lines, and those numbers are thinning out. Slowly but surely, MarineLorD is able to wash away. He's got double the military strength of Beasty. The focus on the keep comes down. The Vils are dying very... It's Cav, and this might actually be the reversal. MarineLorD is able to wash over Beasty, but the Cav keeps on rolling. They've been able to clear most of MarineLorD's own cavalry. They're going into crossbows. They shred through that armor, and all that's left is infantry. Beasty's infantry now being slaughtered by the crossbows, and the keep is still denied. It's doing great. It's doing amazing work. Tower in the back being burned down as we speak, and this whole position, this dedication, has been forfeit. Massive military advantage for MarineLorD.
I have greatly underestimated the size of MarineLorD's army. His technology was much weaker. This is a Castle Age army, but one thing we didn't really mention was that he had a gigantic army here, whereas for Beasty, he had way better units, but just a lack of them. And now he's just down to 21 army, and MarineLorD, he wants to push even deeper. Now, I'm not sure if that's the right choice against 2 bombard towers in there, but one thing is sure, MarineLorD has made this a very competitive game, a game in which he can go into Imperial and possibly even be in a winning position.
And this is definitely unexpected. Now, MarineLorD is pushing the advantage in military that he has. Even if he loses units, he knows it will be fine because he has a massive advantage, 50 to 15 on the other side. If it's only 2 towers that are standing in his way, it's fine. He's going to be able to clear out as much of the army as possible. It means that he takes the high ground, also important positioning that he needs to keep up the fight, to push into Imperial, and from then on, go deeper into Beasty's own base. The keep has at least been cancelled. Towers are still around that are destroyed, basically all that's left. And the higher armory is going to go down. The Rus are advancing to Imp.
Yes, such a crazy game over here for MarineLorD, and I think he made the right choice moving deep into the range of those towers with the army. He lost quite a lot of units over there, but he made sure that Beasty never gets that castle up. That was the key thing. He needed to make sure that that position is never established for Beasty. And now look at what Beasty is doing. He's going very heavy on the spearman department, but this is where you really start to unlock the power of the Rus. With high armory and the siege, longer range springolds make it very difficult for Beasty to take down your siege and to use your own siege as the HRE. And more importantly, Streltsy can make an appearance which will just shred the HRE infantry. So from now on, the only type of advantage that Beasty has is the fact that he's sitting on 4 relics as opposed to 0.
Sure. It means his gold income is going to be consistent and pretty darn impressive for the rest of the game. But you thought crossbows were good against dealing with armor, like you're saying, Lida. Streltsy are going to do even a better high ground position. As we see here, the sacred site is more important than before even. And the keep is being built up in the back. Even more vills are being dedicated to this power position. And look at what MarineLorD is doing. He's wrapping around with his calf trying to get it cancelled. Is it going to be a doubt keep? in this case. We keep up the tradition, the cannon in the back with both siege engines nearby, and he wraps all the way around. He has to go around the keep to go for the fight on the siege engines, and he's almost there, clearing out the cannon, clearing out 2 of the other 2 left in play. There it is, cleared out. And with 1 Springald in play, that long-range sniping is going to be pretty effective for MarineLorD. Loses Springald, back in with the crossbows, but that's crossbows against pure infantry that can sit back behind the walls and do the work, do the damage, clear out the spearmen. But at least for Beastyqt, despite all that's been going on, gonna be able to get that keep up and running in a power position.
That bombard was the hero of Beasty's army. There were 2 trebuchets firing upon that castle, and there was a moment where the castle was very low HP. If that trebuchet gets another shot out, the castle likely goes down before it's completed. The bombard made sure that won't happen. And even though the bombard got taken down by the final horseman, it served its purpose. It yoinked the trebuchets. Now, for the time being, Beastyqt can keep that castle up with the emergency repairs, but at some point he may need to address the growing number of siege units that MarineLorD has on the field. Not necessarily the trebuchets, because their firepower is somewhat limited against those buildings. It's more about the bombards that are now coming up for MarineLorD.
And between the bombards and also the potential to just clear out any siege engines from Beastyqt, how long can you keep up the yonky splinky, really, against your opponent's siege? A good keep position here, very defensive, to pull Beastyqt back for a moment here, but he's going to be able to run through with a few of his own knights, cleared out by the crossbows in just a moment, trying to do some eco damage, or at least really scout his opponent's base, see, okay, what is he doing, what is he going for? Going a bit of a vacation here, but the fact that there is so much siege on the ground, at least the 1 trebuchet, is going to have to force Beasty's hand at some point. Extra keep coming up, just perfectly positioned for the 2nd sacred site, and with some extra gold to play with, as if Beastyqt did not have enough gold at this moment.
Yeah, it's more about denying the gold from MarineLorD, actually, for him. So it's all about making sure that you mine all possible gold from the map and just say, okay, MarineLorD, you work with what you have. And you see MarineLorD is struggling for gold. He's got 800 per minute. And one of the things that he's going to have issues with is that if he wants to go for the premium units of the Rus, the Streltsy or the high HP Knights, those are going to cost gold, and that's something that MarineLorD has a limited stockpile of.
At least the bombard and the Springald here could do quite a bit of damage against the keep. You got to make sure you don't lose those so important siege. And it keeps going down pretty effectively here, being repaired in the back, spending all the resources you have. And Beastyqt has a lot of stuff that can be spent on this. Doesn't really need to worry too much about it. Can keep the keep up for quite a while. His units keep on raiding, though, as we speak. And was the cannon destroyed? Yeah, seems like it. It was over. Culverin came in the back for Beastyqt to help out. Big fight under the gold. Might not be enough, but at least it'll clear out a lot of Vil.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what MarineLorD needs, though. Beastyqt is playing... Yeah, look at this. It's 160 villagers.
Hey, that's just space for more military.
Yeah. This is such a classic Beastyqt move. When he realizes that his opponent can't really punish him for it, he's gonna go for 170 villagers, strip the map barren of resources, and then the moment his opponent is ready to fight, he's going to just lose these villagers, 20 of them, 30 of them, 40 of them this way, or just straight up delete them, and he's going to convert the huge resource bank into a massive army. Such a classic Beastyqt move, and we're going to see that happen very soon. He can just delete 30 villagers and turn 6,000 gold and 2,000, or 6,000 food and 2,000 gold into army.
Be careful of the crossbows, though. They're overexposed, and for some reason the men-at-arms just kind of walk right past them. Pushing into the crossbows is exactly what Beastyqt needs here to clear out that mass that has been doing so much work against essentially the HRE's most powerful tool in their arsenal, their infantry. The amount of tankiness that they can have. It's not like MarineLorD can afford the Streltsy at this point, so he needs to keep that mass alive. Only 30 are left at this point, and that's the all-encompassing HRE strategy. It's the Fabian tactics. Just come in, squeeze the life out of your opponent, denying them as much resources as possible until time runs out, really.
Yeah, it looks like MarineLorD will change the angle of attack, realizing that he can't really have much success, or he won't really have much success on the right side. He's going to try and secure that left-hand side gold mine, but time is of the essence. He's running short on gold, and Beasty's stacking up. He already has 5,000 gold in the bank, and he's just taking that large gold mine on the left, and I think he's doing that on the right side as well. So soon there is going to be a limited amount of gold remaining for MarineLorD to work with.
Somebody tell Beasty that even if you collect that much gold, it doesn't give you an extra bit of gold in the tournament pool. But, you know, if we're keeping records, maybe that's a bonus extra bit that you would get here and there, but not too bad. Now siege engines are rocking up. Towers being built up to protect it. A lot of vills here might be able to build up a second keep. He's got so many resources. Beasty doesn't really mind putting down any really resources on the ground. Getting too close to the keep there, though. The crossbows, MarineLorD losing more and more of them. And at least using his knights to cover, really, as the men-at-arms push into him. But you're on a timer. In this case, is the Roost. You cannot afford to lose that much because you're really low on gold. Not really the case for Beasty. Immediately gets back up with his own cav, pushes right down the hill onto his opponent. On the other side, a bit being cleared out. Pretty much back and forth. But how long can you survive without an actual breach in defense?
These fights are very deceiving here for MarineLorD. What he sees is that he's winning engagements because he's got the numbers advantage. But the reason why he's got the numbers advantage is because Beasty is letting him have that numbers advantage. He's still sitting on 150 villagers. If Beasty just removed 20 villagers from the equation, he would easily outnumber MarineLorD, and he's got a much larger resource bank. In fact, I think he needs to start thinking about that, because this is getting worrisome on the left side, and you don't really want MarineLorD to secure that extra gold mine and get some momentum.
I also would like to turn your attention to the top of the screen on the right-hand side, as MarineLorD is getting a mining upgrade. The very first one. That is a very stark difference between him and Beasty, who's been able to get as many upgrades as humanly possible up on the board. He has a boatload of food. It helps him tremendously. It's all due to his wonderful eco that he's been able to survive through the early and mid parts of the game to get us all the way here. So, big claps, big ups for MarineLorD. But you're getting starved out. You're needing to push into keeps with no siege behind you because you just cannot afford it. And the moment you can, it means you don't have enough army to protect that said siege from the infantry and the cav mass that comes out from Beasty. Springalds are out. You've got a couple of rams also to help out, but there's more towers. They're delaying you. You have to push into a keep. You're not able to upgrade your tech really.
I mean, MarineLorD is doing a crazy job with what he has. It's just the fact that he's set back so much compared to Beasty. Down by 3 relics against the HRE, Beasty having a ton of gold to work with. This is still an uphill battle for him, but he's gaining some ground, and let's not forget that if he gets access to gold, he can unlock some of his premium units as well, and suddenly these battles will be a lot more favorable for him.
What are you doing with the conference? You're just gonna walk them right into your... Okay, what? Free conference for everybody. There it is. A quick surround here from MarineLorD as he's trying to repair the one wall that Beasty was trying to break through. A good attempt here by Beastyqt, but reminder, over the past 5 minutes, he has lost his entire defensive position around the mid-gold. No keep, no buildings, no TC, no nothing. And even the keep on the right-hand side of the map is being pressured as we speak. Cannons are out. Yes, you're thinning out your opponent's crossbow numbers. And I want to turn your attention to that number because it's now slipped away to only 22. So at some point, that wave of HRE infantry is going to wash over you. You better be careful.
Yeah, taking a straight-up engagement is not really an option right now for MarineLorD. His army is exclusively cavalry. Well, he's got some crossbows still, but now he's facing a lot of spearmen, so he can't really take this engagement. But he's going to have the mobility advantage, and I think he's going to start sending in wave after wave of cavalry into Beasty's eco, or at least that's likely going to be the plan. It's going to be difficult to accomplish because there are stone walls on the left side, and there's a gigantic force on the right, a force that he's willing to take a fight against.
The big advantage for Beasty is that he's also playing under a keep. Otherwise, MarineLorD has over 20 pop in offensive units on his side. So it comes back to, hey, you're HRE and you're already ahead by an insane amount of resources. Do you really need the 20, 30, 40 even villagers above the 100 that aren't really giving you a real tangible advantage in the game? You need more mass, but at least with the siege engines in play, they're busting down the keep, and it's a war of attrition. Another keep gets built up right behind it by Beasty. He's trying to keep up in the fight and really force MarineLorD to wash his waves over the keep. Roos are diving right onto the villagers. The keep is gonna go up, but by how much and how many vills will go down in the meantime, it doesn't really matter how many vills go down because it's an advantage again for Beasty. Clears out more pop space, choking out MarineLorD as we speak. The war of attrition is being won slowly by the HRE. They're trying to snipe down those oh so important siege engines, might only delay the inevitable. War being cleared out. Beasty in an even better position. He walks forward.
Yeah, if MarineLorD saw what we are seeing right now, he would likely tap out. That 16,000 food that we have in the bank for Beasty alongside 3,000 wood, 4,000 gold, that's a difficult challenge to overcome. The reason why MarineLorD is still in this game is because what he sees is that he's taking competitive engagements. His resource bank is much weaker, but he's taking reasonable fights and he has no idea how good Beasty's eco is and how many resources he's got stacked up. There is a world where MarineLorD has the chance to turn this around. It would have to be a very long game though, and Beasty would need to make some mistakes for that to happen. But basically, this game has to go all the way to trade in order for MarineLorD to have a shot.
I can't believe we've been going on for this long in this game, but every single moment of this matchup has been so close. It's the final rally here for Beasty as he pushes up into his opponent's base, and crossbows have been masked up again, but how long can you last? A quick raid here in the center again as Beasty's built up a few defenses around the gold that once 10 minutes ago he had to keep around, but between those culverins and the bombards that are coming up the cannons, they'll be able to survive and pick off the building after the other from MarineLorD, thinning out his production even more. There we go, quick snipe on the stable. Walls being built up front just to protect the artillery in the back. A big engagement, cavalry against those spears, opening up those walls. And look at that, look at those walls coming up last second here by Beasty to divert the siege away. And the spearmen are going to do work against the knights. Siege engines in the back, cannons are going to fire away into their opponents. At least the crossbows are able to thin out the herd, but for how long? It's a losing battle. It's a battle of attrition that MarineLorD just cannot fight. The walls are just being brought up. This is what he would have loved to see from Beasty ages ago, but now he's finally doing it.
Oh, the crossbows, I'm really unsure if that's the correct choice over here. You see the problem with them, it takes too much time to wipe out the group of spearmen, and MarineLorD, he's been taking that fight for quite a while, lost most of the horsemen before the crossbows could finish off the spears. Now, I see that he can't afford these streltsy here, but I think for him, he could start thinking about the idea of horse archers. Like, that wouldn't cost him gold, and that would probably be a better solution against the spearmen as well.
Lida, Beasty has over 30 knights in queue and 41 spear in queue. That's absolutely insane. And on top of all of that, look at how many resources he has. All the upgrades, also max upgrades on all of his units. Not the case for MarineLorD. The fight goes under the keep. All the units have been cleared out from MarineLorD, and he's falling back. The Springolds cannot do more damage than that. The Vills will come up from Beasty and start repairing. And finally, MarineLorD is moving ahead in villager count for the first time in what feels like forever. The walls immediately go down. There's all the Vills that are being sniped off. The crossbows have to fall back beyond whatever is left from that defensive wall in the back, and it was basically being used to save any Vills working before us. But there's Springles being wiped out, and the big fight is happening around the production. All the knights have been cornered. Spearmen are all around. The trap is trying to do some work. The crossbows also in the back, playing behind the wall, but it's only a matter of time before the army falls At one point, that wall will not be more than a little bit of papier-mâché, as they say. Maybe an opportunity that Beastyqt could have used in the past to push beyond those walls that extend to his right-hand side, but there we go. Palisades are being burned down. You're going to be able to rush down those crossbows and surround them. Knights are not going to last too long. More reinforcements are coming in. 49 spears are in queue for Beasty, who's throwing trash all over the place. This might just be the ending move. Knights wiped out, crossbow still barely alive, and the Treb is going to be pushed. The keep is all that remains of MarineLorD's base, and I'm not sure it can hold on for long. Despite the trade, despite everything that's been put together, military count is almost 3 times on Beasty's side, and the crossbows are exposed. An incredible matchup that we've had, and this is only map 1 of this series. I feel it's going to be a tap out in just a moment.
And the timing is perfect over there. What a game. And as you said, that trade is just coming a little too late over here for MarineLorD. That has been the storyline for a while in this game. He was just one step behind Beasty for quite a while, and for some time it seemed like he was going to be able to catch up, but that never really materialized, and Beasty just played his classic game over here. Secure map control and just strip the map barren of resources, and once he felt like MarineLorD is ready to fight, he just turned all those resources into army in a blink of an eye and just steamrolls the map. If MarineLorD could drag this game out for 10 more minutes, I think he could have once again been competitive, but Beasty didn't let him have that, and Beasty takes game number 1. Long and grindy game over here. Let's see if the remaining games of this set will be similar to this. 47 minutes in just game number 1, and this is a best of 5. Beasty does have his fate in his hands. If he wins this set, he's going to be qualified for the top 4 of Golden League 2.
Honestly, it's incredible that the game lasted that long. I want to pull everybody's attention back to literally the first minute with 2 villagers pulled in versus 1 just to put a dock down, and look at how it ended 50 minutes later with a massive fight all the way in MarineLorD's base, holding on to every single unit. It was genuinely a beautiful to see. No two ways around it, really.